Hey everyone, it's Ryan Henry with INSPIREsmall.biz, and we're recording from our office at 2804 East 55th Place in Indianapolis. And welcome to another episode of the Bright Ideas Show. Today our guest is going to be Julie Pesek with the Tax Advantage, so don't miss it. Hey everyone, it's Ryan Henry, and on this episode of the Bright Ideas Show, we have Julie Pesek, who is the principal with the Tax Advantage. Julie, how are you doing today?
Doing good, Ryan. Thank you for having me today.
Well, thank you for being on our show. So, Julie, let's talk a little bit about who you are and what do you do outside of work?
Julie Pesek. I do multiple things outside of work. I like to write screenplays, and
nice.
I'm writing a book, and right now I am just taking all that in right now and spending time with my 4 animals that I have, and my son who is 20 at Ball State, and hopes to change the world with environmental management. So, and then I have 2 stepchildren and a husband that works at a neighboring accounting firm. So
nice. So it's all numbers in your family.
Yes, it is. It is very much numbers.
So Julie, if you feel comfortable talking about it, tell us a little bit about the book you're working on.
The book I'm working on right now, it's based on spirituality, and I guess it's one of those things where I probably don't talk about it enough, but I don't want it to impede on my on the tax advantage and what we can offer people. But it's just something that I've been working on for a while about spirituality and self-help, and hopefully I can get it out there someday.
Nice. Well, you'll definitely have to come back on the show when you're ready to share that with everyone. So, Julie, let's talk about your career and getting started. What did you do before you became a business owner?
Well, it's something that to be honest, I was embarrassed about for years. And I didn't know that I was an entrepreneur. And a lot of people were in my shoes. I come to find out when I became a principal at the Tax Advantage. I got my undergrad in retail management, my minor in sociology, and then I decided 10 years later to go back and learn accounting from scratch and get an MBA.
Oh, wow.
And I went through several different jobs, and I did pharmaceuticals, staffing, worked at financial advising. I did work that's actually how I met my husband, was at my first public accounting firm. I've worked installing flooring. I've pretty much done those were just a few of them. But at the end of the day, I never could hold those jobs because they said, well, look, you're not a good fit for this. You have too much going on here. We need you here. And we don't need you all over here. And a lot of entrepreneurs that I've met and that I work with on a daily basis, there's a simple explanation for it. They're supposed to be running a company. They're right and left brain. They're the creative and the numbers. I know a lot of my clients aren't very number savvy, and that's why they hire us, and that's totally fine. But they're doing the HR, they're doing the sales, they're doing the banking. They're doing everything, and that's what an entrepreneur does. And for so many years, I was so ashamed of it because I couldn't hold a job like a lot of my friends did. And when I started coming into my own and started noticing that, hey, I need to figure out, if I am an entrepreneur, what that path is. And that's when I started paving the path in public accounting, and knew that I could do consulting for all different industries because I've worked in all different industries. I shock a lot of my clients when I tell them I used to do medical billing. And they're like, really? They're like, you can help me? I'm like, yeah, I can tell. I know what CPT codes are. I know, I was in hospitality staffing, so I can do HR. I'm helping one of my clients staff a couple positions right now. I'm doing operational because I used to work at Walmart as an operations manager. So I'm able to help with inventory and help with structure with different managers. But I'm also able to focus in what we're hired for, which is the tax and accounting piece. But I am blessed every day that I have a job that I'm finally where I'm supposed to be. And there's nothing ashamed of it anymore. And I'm not ashamed of my past anymore.
And so all of those experiences helped make you an even better solution for each of your clients because you have that knowledge about their industry, right?
Correct. Yeah. And if it wasn't for that, it would be very hard to relate to somebody when all I've done is numbers all my life and just looked at a balance sheet and a profit and loss for a company and theoretically say, oh, this is how the company functions.
Nice. And so, Julie, let's talk about getting the tax advantage started. So walk us through that journey when you knew that business ownership, entrepreneurship was your path. Tell our viewers about your journey of getting your business up and running.
Well, I joined a practice. Kim Pageant actually started the Tax Advantage in 1985. And she was my personal tax accountant for 10 years.
Nice.
And saw me at a different public accounting firm and asked me if I wanted to come join her. She knew I could do more than what I was doing there, and she wanted to grow the practice, and I was able to do that, and we have significantly grown the practice in the 4.5 years I've been at the Tax Advantage, and really made it a nationwide company.
Oh, wow.
And we work with clients in every state, and we have some clients that are in multiple states, and just trying to troubleshoot the different state and the federal tax regulations is always a challenge. But that's kind of our forte is the multiple state and federal tax compliance, and more my position is, which I've grown with the area of monthly bookkeeping, payroll, advisory, and consulting services. So we have those entrepreneurs that we are taking care of on a monthly basis.
And so that's helping keep everything neat and organized for when it's time to come back and do the taxes.
Yes, yes.
And so you're able to help advise them on where they should be putting money all year so that they're not surprised at tax time?
Yes. Currently, right now, I am working on helping them with their tax estimates for the fourth quarter and trying to figure out, hey, what do you have in the pipeline the last 2 months of the year? What do we need to, what are you expecting? Any kind of life situations have changed or anything like that. So I'm able to take those into account and then let them know, hey, this is how much you're going to owe about tax time, but you have, you really need to pay in your fourth quarter estimate. So you're not having like a $30,000 tax liability at the end of the year, which is always shocking for an entrepreneur, especially a first-time entrepreneur that doesn't know that you have to pay in federal and state tax estimates.
Yeah.
It is a shocker, and just trying to help them with that emotional journey. As an entrepreneur, I'm like, look, that's awesome. Your company is booming, but we need to talk about the elephant in the room is we need to pay the piper, and what can I do to lessen that blow for you?
So with it being the middle of November now, what are some of the things that business owners need to be thinking about from an accounting standpoint, since I believe there's still a little bit of time this year that they could get their things in order, right?
Yes, do not wait till the last minute, especially if you are in between tax accountants and just, I call it the shoebox trauma. When you come to a new accountant, here's all my receipts for the whole year. I haven't put them in any software or Excel sheet. And then that's when you have no idea how you're doing, and we have to reconstruct everything. You need to get with that accounting firm before that happens, because you don't know how busy they are, or if they're going to be able to fit you in on time. And trust me, it doesn't matter how big, how small the accounting firm is. nobody wants a shoebox trauma.
Very true.
But that's something that I would say, partner with a good accountant before the end of the year, let them know, give them advance warning, and just say, hey, I'm interested in talking to you about maybe taking over my books and records and my tax. What are the next steps? And that's the best conversation to have, and come in to any firm asking that.
And so, Julie, before we get any further in this interview, tell people how they can get a hold of you. If you mentioned their condition of the shoebox, how do they get a hold of you?
Okay, so you can call our office at 317-784-7402, or you can email us at info@taxadvantagellc.com. And that will go to me, and or even our office manager, but just ask for Julie Pesek, and I'll be able to take care of them, because I also do all the sales and marketing for the Tax Advantage, so I'd be your person.
Nice. And so, Julie, let's talk about some of the industries that you really work well with, because you did say that you had extensive knowledge in different industries before you got into accounting. So tell our viewers a little bit about some of the types of businesses that you really work well with.
I do well with contractors and medical. As far as contractors go, all like general contractors, plumbers. I have asbestos removal contractors.
Okay.
We also do restaurants, and which I do have a big staffing company that I help with them, and trying to. I mean, all the different industries have their own different special needs, like staffing. A lot of them have a lot of AR issues or factoring, so they're financing their accounts receivable, their payroll, things like that, and they need a partner to help them. Medical, you have the medical billing. You need that expertise. You need to know how you're billing and how that money comes in, and the cash flow situation. And, with the restaurants, it's up and down all the time.
Yeah.
And trying to keep your people happy, that is the biggest thing right now, is the employee turnover that I'm seeing in a lot of the service-based industries. It's hit us all. But trying to help the entrepreneur be a better leader and retain those people and show them that they're valued, and give them the skills to make that company successful. Those are the ground blocks that you need. And a lot of accountants, kind of overlook that. But those are the things that I dive into, that I want to be able to help them and be their partner, be their coach, be the person that's going to be able to help them rise above the limits of the sales and the loans, everything, so they can be successful. So really, going back to your question, any industry I've had exposure to, I'm able to help them in any way I can.
One special note on your bills and how they get paid is auto pay accounts. Now, they are great until they are not great. I'm not a big fan of subscription services and auto pay accounts for this very reason. They are built with the idea that you will forget to cancel them if you don't want them anymore, because they will continue to bill you for those services as long as your accounts are open or as long as your credit card is active. I was working with another family. So another part of the work that I do is actually helping families to finalize things after losing a loved one, helping them close down accounts and shut things down. There's a lot to manage, and so I'm able to come alongside them and help them do some of that work. And one of the families that I was working with, the father had owned a business and had a lot of things set up on auto pay for his marketing and for his subscriptions and for his ads and all of that. And when he passed away, it took them about 6 months to get an executor named with the probate process, because he didn't quite have things set up as they should have been. And they lost so much money because of those auto pay accounts, because even though he was gone, his business was no longer active, because those cards were still open, because that probate process can take a while. They kept billing, and they lost all of that money just because they didn't know how to get things shut down otherwise. So yes, auto pay accounts, you can have them, just make note of them so that someone could get to those quickly and shut them down if needed.
So Julie, let's change gears for a little bit, because you and I met through a great event that you used to host, and now we host, called Business Spotlight. So let's talk for a little bit about your journey as the host, because you inherited the event and then we inherited the event from you. Yes. So give viewers a little bit of a background about Business Spotlight.
Business Spotlight was started in, I believe, 2015 by Roxanne Leha and Jeff Slane. Jeff Slane was my partner throughout the time that before I turned it over to you. Mm-hmm. Roxanne has since moved on because of a job. But I took it over in 2017 at the beginning and grew it and then handed it over to you the last year. But one of the things I loved about Business Spotlight, and I love that you keep that fire going, is that it is all about paying it forward. And I don't see any other networking group out there that truly pays it forward and doesn't expect anything in return from their members. It's all about casting a wide net, getting people in there, and it's all about chance encounters and building relationships. I mean, you see people come month after month, and then there's maybe one person that comes in maybe for a couple times, but that's just the way that they were supposed to, integrate into Business Spotlight, was just to maybe have an exposure to meet that one person at that one time. And with a lot of these networking groups that are very exclusive, or they have restrictions, high fees, things like that, you start really closing off the opportunity to meet different people that you're truly supposed to meet. And it's all about chance encounters. And that's what I love about Business Spotlight, because I kept it pretty much free for the whole time. And, I didn't want to collect dues. I didn't want to do anything. It was a partnership between Jeff and I and the restaurant, and it worked out for years. And then it just got to the point where it needed new blood. I couldn't do that and run the practice and have it accelerate in growth as it was, and the same with Jeff. So he's an entrepreneur too. Mm-hmm. And we just felt like at that point, we're like, we need to turn it over to somebody. And you were number one, you and Jamie. Jamie was number two. And I said, I'm going to call Ryan, and I think he's the one who should be doing it. And I got on the phone with you that afternoon, and you said, absolutely. You didn't even have to check with Jamie. You're like, I'm going to take it. We're going to do it.
And it's weird, because Jamie and I were just having a conversation earlier that week about getting an additional event going, because he is the host of our Keystone Business Connections meeting. And we sat down and we were looking at how in the new year could we get something else going. So it was a great opportunity. Mm-hmm. So Julie, let's talk about, over your time as host of Business Spotlight, did you see a growth in your business? Was there a productive value to you in facilitating the event?
Yes. We got quite a few clients through that. Right now we want the business client, the one that needs help with the estimates, needs help building their company. 1040s, like anybody in the U.S. has to file a 1040. Yep. And, we don't do as many of those, but we do it for the business client. And then we do take some 1040s from time to time, if it is a good fit, if it's somebody that we feel like it's going to be a good partnership going forward. Because we want to add value to them, to their lives, and, we want to be a good asset to them. If it's a once a year like H&R Block, we're probably not. But I did get a lot of business out of it. But the thing is, the downside is, everybody knew I worked at a tax and accounting firm, and no tax and accounting firm would come to Business Spotlight. And I said, this is something that I want to change. And I took off my logo off of there, because I didn't want that to deter anybody from coming and trying to get business, because we're all meant to have different clients. I'm not supposed to have the same clients somebody else is, and there is the fear of scarcity is an absolute lie. It's not like we're all out there competing for the same client. You're meant to have a certain client.
And so that brings up an important principle, is that you believe in that there's an opportunity for every professional in that same field to be successful.
Correct.
So let's talk about right now, what are some of the things, we covered a little bit about what business owners need to know before the end of the year. But for business owners who went through this year and have determined that next year needs to be different, what advice do you have for them about being much smarter in their bookkeeping next year?
Well, one, don't wait to the last minute.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest thing that I've seen, do not commingle your personal with your business. Your business is not a piggy bank for your personal. If you run out of money out of your personal account, don't go dive into the business. You can take a distribution or draw, move it over your personal, and then spend it in any way that you wish. One thing that the IRS and the state do look at that is very concerning is if you get pulled for an audit, they're going to look at it and say, if you're commingling, they're going to want to look at all your personal transactions, your bank, credit card, everything. Do you really want to show the IRS
that
your
sounds like a lot of personal stuff to share.
Yes. So that's the biggest thing I would say. And then also, I tell people that if you're trying to save money, and I do see a lot of people are, well, I don't really want to pay somebody to do my bookkeeping. I'm going to do it myself. To be honest, you really need to have somebody help you with bookkeeping. We're not all 100% great. Did you go and get an accounting degree somewhere? A lot of people think that bookkeeping is very easy. It can be. But it really is one of those things where you really need to have a professional. Don't try to do your own bookkeeping to save money, because in the long run, it will cost you money with all the things that are down the road that will happen.
And so, Julie, let's talk about again, how can someone get a hold of you if it's time to put their bookkeeping and taxes in the hands of a professional? You can contact me at 317-784-7402, or you can email me at info@taxadvantagellc.com. Awesome. Well, Julie, thank you so much for being our guest here today on the Bright Ideas Show. One last thing. So any advice that you can offer a new entrepreneur that you want to share here today before we close? Don't give up. As much as everybody's telling you you're crazy and you shouldn't be doing your own business, your family's telling your friends are telling you, but if you in your heart really feel you're supposed to be doing something, follow that intuition, but get with somebody that is objectionable, that doesn't know you, that is able to be a guide like myself or any accounting firm out there that is going to be able to guide you through the process. But I definitely would say don't give up. That's the biggest thing. Awesome. Well, Julie, thank you so much again for being our guest today. To everyone watching, give Julie Pesek at the Tax Advantage a call for all of your bookkeeping, accounting, and taxes questions. Stay tuned to hear the upcoming events from INSPIREsmall.biz here in just a moment. Hey, everyone, check out these upcoming events from INSPIREsmall.biz. On Thursday, we have our next marketing inspiration group at 4:00 p.m. at Refinery 46. 2201 East 46th Street in Indianapolis. This small format networking group is open to entrepreneurs in every industry, and you can visit twice before becoming an INSPIREsmall.biz member. Coming up on Friday, December 1st, we have our next Sparks lunch at 11:00 a.m. at Giacomo Pizza, 9165 Otis Avenue, Indianapolis, Indiana. If you have ever wanted to learn about what happens at Sparks events, join us. This event is free to attend. You just purchase your own lunch. We'll get to preview a recent Sparks presentation from our after-hours event. with lots of great opportunities to network. And finally, coming up on Friday, December 8th at 3 o'clock p.m., we have our 2024 preview party and business spotlight. That's hosted at Refinery 46, 2201 East 46th Street in Indianapolis, and the event will begin with the full preview of our 2024 calendar, followed by an opportunity for everyone to introduce themselves to the entire room. For these and more great events from INSPIREsmall.biz and our members, visit www.inspiresmall.biz/events. Thanks for watching this episode of the Bright Ideas Show. We'll see you next week.